So Sean has had a busy second episode, and he comes in for his session with his therapist to figure out, well, what do I do next? So here are some questions that I would pose to Sean, and at the end I'd sort of give him sort of a suggestion. But as we go through these are questions that you can ask yourself to try to think, well, what would Sean be feeling, or how would Sean answer? But more importantly, in your life, how would you respond to these questions as it relates to your relationships? So the first question would be, Sean is just a loving guy. He's a sincere, nice, gentle, loving guy. He seems to love everybody. So how does Sean differentiate his love for just people in general, his love for friends, his love for a girlfriend, and then his love for his future wife? So it seems like Sean's going to maybe fall in love or love almost all these women to some extent. So, where does he draw the line? How does he categorize them as this is a friend, this is a girlfriend, or this is a potential wife situation? Now it's going to be an interesting thing for Sean to tweeze out, given that he doesn't seem like he's been in passionate, mad, this is my wife kind of love, maybe with Emily, maybe with the one relationship he had before Emily. But he does sound like he has a loving nature and loves many people. How does he differentiate? The second question I would ask Sean is, how do you separate Sarah from her disability? So there's 19 women that he could have chosen for that first one-on-one. He chose Sarah. There's only a 5% chance that he would choose Sarah. Why did he choose Sarah with only a 5% chance? Did her disability play into that in some way? Did Sean, given his sympathetic, compassionate, protective nature, look at Sarah and think, wow, she's been left out so many times from situations. She's been ridiculed, pushed by the wayside. I'm going to give her a chance to be in the spotlight and to shine and pick her first. So was that sort of the sympathy, heartstrings that Sean had? Was that being played in the situation that chose Sarah over the other 18 women? Or were there other qualities of Sarah that he sees that prompted her to be the first one on his list of one-on-one dates? Sort of piggybacking off that, I would like to ask Sean, would you have pranked Sarah? So you chose these two one-on-one dates, Desiree and Sarah, and you had an idea, well, one of them I'll sort of free fall, 36 stories, and the other one I'm going to play a prank on. What were your thoughts of playing that prank on Sarah, given the idea that she probably has been made fun of, insulted, or ridiculed at many times in her life because of her physical disability? So choosing to not play a prank on her, I think, was in good taste, but also it just shows that there's a little bit different sort of conduct or different way that you're going to treat Sarah that you would treat some of the other women, and part of that is because of her disability. So always something to be careful of and to think through. But how do you separate Sarah from her disability? It's going to be an important question as Sarah continues to stay in the running as she seems to be. The fourth question is, that Harlequin romance photo shoot. How did Sean feel being with 13 women, physically hugging, cuddling, snuggling, rubbing against, kissing some of them? How did he feel doing that with 13 women all in the same afternoon, back to back to back? But then add on the layer that he was in front of all the other ones while he was doing it with the one. So each person got to see him sort of interact and be physical with the others. That's got to be sort of a sticky situation for a guy to be in. Know that these other people that you're dating are watching you sort of physically be involved with their competitors. So how did he feel managing that? I think he did a great job of making it sort of a G-rated and wholesome kind of event when it could have blown completely out of control and been really unwieldy and a lot of damage being done. I think Sean did a great job, but how did he feel inside being that part? The fifth thing would be Leslie M. Leslie M. and him shared sort of a, at the pool party, sort of an awkward, time together. As he wanted to kiss her, she wanted him to kiss her, but they really couldn't find the right chemistry to make it match. A little awkward. She went back, thought about it. It's not in her nature to make the first move, but she went out of character for herself and said, hey, I'm going to pursue him. I'm going to make the first move, even though, I'm sort of a Southern girl, old-fashioned, traditional girl. How does Sean view that? Does Sean view that as, wow, she's willing to risk and she's confident in herself to be able to go outside of herself, to do something a little different and out of character for her? Or does he sort of see that as a sign of insecurity and maybe even desperation that, oh my gosh, he might not like me for who I am, so I got to do something different. Let me do the physical thing, because most guys like that, and I'll make the first move, even though he didn't make the first move. So how would Sean view that out of character interaction that he had with Leslie M? One thing that I see Sean doing is, as he interacts with women, he would say, I felt the same way, or I was exactly like that when I first went through The Bachelorette. And he told it to, in this episode, Katie, KCB, Desiree, Sarah, Leslie M., and Lindsay. And I think Sean just wants people to feel good around him. He wants to make people feel better. So when he sees them a little bit uncomfortable, he sort of acknowledges their discomfort and tries to say, hey, look, I was in your same shoes. I know exactly how you were feeling. It is awkward. It is difficult. I would like him sometimes to just say, yeah, it is tough. Tell me about that. Let's dig into that. Why do you think it's uncomfortable for you? To pry a little bit, to get to know that person a little bit more, to see if they have some more depth, to see if they have some self-assessment or self-reflection, self-analysis kind of skills, and whether they're willing to share some of that honestly and sincerely with him. I think he sort of lets them off the hook a little bit and doesn't press them whenever he has an opportunity to press to find out a little bit more about them and to get to know them in a deeper kind of way. Lastly, a piece of advice I would give to Sean is he's talked a couple times about being able to maybe see his wife in this crowd, in this room, to be able to maybe get on one knee at the end and propose. I would ask Sean to really hold off and really recommend that he doesn't really talk about proposing and that he's not going to get engaged at the end of this particular season, but that hopefully by the end he's going to find the best one of these 26 that he feels that he can have a good chance of pursuing more depth, more relationship with, to see if this is really the right person. Because when we get down to the bottom of it, this is only really about 6 to 9 dates he's going to have with this person. It's under ideal circumstances and phenomenal situations. So who wouldn't have good dates? Who wouldn't have interactions with at least 3 or 4 women when you get down to the end of this? But do you really know the person? Have you really shared some hardships, some difficult times, some sickness, some illness, financial pressures, family pressures, stresses, those kind of things? That's what really makes up a relationship. That's how you really get to know people, is who are they during adverse times, during times of struggle. There's that sort of, those 5 elements of relating: knowing a person, trusting, relying, and then committing, and touch, significant physical intimacy with that person. And so that proposal is that sort of 4th level that is commitment. But before commitment, we need to know, trust, and rely. And after 9 days, I don't even know if you really know a person well enough, especially during the adverse circumstances, to be able to fully trust and then rely significantly that you're willing to make that lifelong commitment to. So, Sean, slow down. Let's not look at proposal. Let's just look at who is the best one that I can pursue a deeper relationship and hopefully pursue something that could be lifelong. So that's my session with Sean, and hope you can take these questions and wrestle with them a little bit yourself and see what your answers to these questions might be. Thank you very much.